Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Like those lording over the George Floyd Autonomous Zone in Minneapolis, who issued a list of 24 demands yesterday. The House Democrat and Senate Democrat Socialist caucuses have their list of demands when it comes to policing in America, and that's largely memorialized in that policing bill that Biden spoke about after the Chauvin verdict earlier this week, where he really essentially characterized the police as a predatory institution. So just because it hasn't happened, something that's happened in Minneapolis or Brooklyn Center or Chicago, hasn't happened in your community yet, there is a push to federalize through the Department of Justice and through the legislation proposed policing in this country. It's not going to happen in function, but it could happen in form. And that's something that raises some concerns, should raise some concerns no matter where you live, on issues like qualified immunity that would change the way policing can be done at the local level, even if Merrick Garland isn't watching what you're doing. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Susan Crabtree, RealClearPolitic's.com's White House and national political correspondent. Susan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great to be there with you.
The sticking points between, because Tim Scott obviously proposed a policing reform, Republican senator from South Carolina last year, some policing reform legislation that wouldn't get the light of day from Democrats because, as Chuck Schumer said, he's a token, or that's just token. And so the sticking points, the real sticking points in terms of any sort of legislation akin to what has been proposed by Biden making its way into law.
Yeah, well, it's mainly this qualified immunity that you mentioned, and that is it's actually not in the law itself. It's a tradition that the Supreme Court as a precedent, the Supreme Court has established over many, many years. And so states right now are realizing there's so much gridlock in Washington on that, and some of the more liberal states are doing it themselves and basically changing qualified immunity to make it more people able to sue cops, and then make them personally liable in some cases for the damages involved. And so this is a huge debate that's playing out in the states because it's not going anywhere in Washington, because there's not the 10 Republicans that will require to reach above the filibuster 60-vote threshold. Democrats don't have that. And so it was very, very strange on the night of the Chauvin verdict that Joe Biden was talking to the Floyd family, and he was promising them, I mean, it was just an outright promise that he was going to get the bill passed, the George Floyd bill with the qualified immunity in it. But now we see Tim Scott, just in the past 24 hours, he has been working with Democrat Representative Karen Bass and Senator Cory Booker, and to produce a compromise bill. I don't know what it's going to stipulate about qualified immunity. I have a feeling that he's going to at least provide some limits. He's going to have to acquiesce to that, because that is the big issue that Democrats want. But it'll be really interesting because next week, as you know, is we call it the State of the Union. That's really technically the first joint address to Congress, because it's President Biden's first address. So we can't really comment on the State of the Union yet. Technically, that's what it's called. And Senator Scott is going to provide the Republican response to that address.
Right.
So the Republicans are putting him out there as they know that he is the Republican answer on police reform, while he's working with Democrats on a compromise bill.
I wanted to also tackle this piece that you wrote up on an issue that's not as front and center, perhaps should be, and that's the American policy towards religious freedom abroad. And Samantha Power, another Obama administration veteran that has made her way back into the federal government, her position, and she was former U.S. ambassador and so forth. And what the Biden posture towards religious freedom is the world over This is particularly acute when you think about Uyghur Muslims as well as Christians being persecuted by the Chinese communists. And there's sort of a subtle but important massaging America away from preeminent concerns with religious freedom. It's just sort of another human right in the panoply of human rights as so broadly defined by folks like Joe Biden.
Yes, this is an issue I've been following very closely because the Trump administration, they really worked hard to make religious freedom a big priority of their foreign policy, and they were constantly up against this sort of bureaucratic gridlock in Washington and bias against religion among the State Department career folks and USAID, that Agency for International Development. The career folks there have a religious blind policy. They don't believe that, even though we have said never again to the Holocaust and other genocides, they don't think that the people who suffer from persecution, religious freedom persecution, should be given priority in terms of funding and where our attention goes. We thought that the Biden administration, a lot of the advocates I talked to, and activists and former Trump officials, were giving him the benefit of the doubt at first. Wrote a story back in December, saying, we believe that Antony Blinken's going to be Secretary of State, and he has spoken out about his father's experience in fleeing the Holocaust and coming to America and being saved by an American member of the Army during the Holocaust. So we feel like he's going to give this religious freedom issue its just cause. Well, no, it seems like that anything that Trump does is they're going to try to repudiate that, and that's the word that he chose, Antony Blinken, on March 30th, when he undid what Pompeo's this Commission on Inalienable Rights, and basically said the Trump administration took an unbalanced view towards religious freedom, so we're not going to be doing that at all. We are going to repudiate that, and we are going to take a different tack and value all human rights equally, including LGBTQ rights, women's reproductive rights. So he put it in a whole panoply of rights, but just because you're experiencing genocide doesn't mean that Americans need to do anything about it to stop it, which is kind of contrary to what the policies have been so far with the Uyghur Muslims. They got on board. They got in on the way out the door. The Trump administration, Mike Pompeo, made a designation for the Uyghurs that it was genocide, and they actually abided by that when the Biden administration came in. But now we're seeing this word choice of repudiation, and I think it signals that changes are definitely in the works, and we've already seen some religious freedom contract, one particularly in Nigeria, that was supposed to be aimed at documenting genocide there against Christians and some Muslims, and Boko Haram and Fulani militias being the perpetrators. We're already seeing that contract being canceled and a hold put on any religious freedom contracts from the Trump administration. And
it's also additionally ironic, as you point out, because Samantha Power, as I mentioned, who's the director of USAID, won a Pulitzer Prize for a book that was critical of the U.S. for not doing enough in previous instances where there were genocides occurring around the world.
So it's hugely ironic, and she's not even been installed yet. She hasn't won Senate confirmation yet, and they're already putting these hold and canceling contracts that she talked about in her Senate confirmation hearing. That the biggest challenges that we face in doing anything about genocide is documenting it. And here's a contract to document the genocide taking place in Nigeria against Christians and Muslims, and they're already canceling those contracts before she can be installed.
I guess we have enough challenges protecting religious freedom in California. So maybe it's these are Susan Crabtree, RealClearPolitic's.com's White House and national political correspondent. Susan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you aware that AmericanEagle.com has been designing websites since the internet started? Do you know they've helped companies large and small achieve results that they themselves thought impossible? Today, a well-designed website is an art form. There are no cookie-cutter solutions. At AmericanEagle.com, they are proud to design and develop a website that fits their client's business. Their experience shows that a well-designed website with the client's business at the forefront will bring an excellent return on their investment. Clients, from startups to medium and large businesses, have come to rely on them for a full line of website services, from consulting and integration to digital strategy and marketing, hosting, and maintenance. AmericanEagle.com is the technology partner you need if you're looking for online success. They work with all kinds of companies in nearly every industry. Give the team at AmericanEagle.com a call today, 1-877-WEB-NOW-1. Let them help you achieve online results and success. AmericanEagle.com, that number again, 1-877-WEB-NOW and the number 1, 1-877-WEB-NOW-1.
For years, you've heard the familiar name of Turnkey IT. They've told their story about successfully providing IT solutions for hundreds of Chicagoland businesses, many of which are supporters of AM 560, locally owned and operated by a wonderful family. And now they're turning a new chapter in their business, Turnkey Consulting. Turnkey Consulting came out of the need for so many small businesses that were really looking for help to grow, especially during this pandemic. They just wanted to maximize their profits, and don't we all? Well, Turnkey has assembled a team of consulting experts that have decades of real-world experience in both corporate and small businesses. Folks, they know how to make an immediate impact to drive your company forward, no matter the size or industry. So get started today with Turnkey's Opportunity Scorecard. That provides a thorough analysis of your business, its systems, its offerings, and most importantly, a roadmap to greater profits. In just 2 weeks, you can have a new insight into making 2021 your company's best year ever. And now, for a limited time, your business receives the Opportunity Scorecard for half off. So visit turnkey.pro today to schedule an appointment. That's turnkey.pro.
If you have kids in school, then this past year has been a major wake-up call. All of a sudden, many of the things you once took for granted changed overnight. For many students, school is still happening mainly online, and for some school districts, that seems to be the way it'll be for a while. But that's not the case with many private schools. Most private schools have been in classrooms since last August, and students have been receiving a high-quality education from teachers who share your values. Do you want your child to suffer through another year of virtual learning? Now is the time to consider a private school, and the most affordable way to do that is through halfpriceschools.com. Right now, vouchers are available for 50% off the normal tuition for private schools across Chicagoland. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a school near you, and purchase a voucher today. Then, prepare to send your child back to school this fall, in classroom, to a school that you can trust. Visit halfpriceschools.com today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I feel more energy. I remember that I would only mow the lawn, like the front one day and the back the next day, because I was too tired. Now I mow the front and the back, and I recover quickly. I recover